1. Go.
All right, good morning, everybody. Saturday, November the 6th, On the Block football show. Myself, Joe Verfari, Brandon Graham, Rob Gisona, Igor Henriquez. I want to start with some trending topics today, and I want to get Igor's take on this first. So as you guys know, Aaron Rodgers is in the news for a lot of things. He has COVID, did not get the shot. There's been some controversy as to if he actually did get the shot. Now, he said he didn't. I know that some people are saying that he lied about getting the shot. So, Igor, like I said before you got into it, I want you to start off and give us your thoughts on this.
So Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenally talented football player. I'll start off with that. He's definitely one of the best quarterbacks of all time. As a human being, though, I've always thought in certain elements that he had a little bit of a scumbag to him, and that's just me being real about it. He, from looking at what some of his former teammates would say, that he was a little bit of a locker room issue. Now, again, I have no issue, whether you're vaxxed or you're unvaxxed. That's a decision that you make. The way he did, with the whole media thing, when they asked him about it, he's like, I've been immunized. So he was definitely trying to avoid any, I'm not vaxxed situation, which is, again, that's the problem I have with that. Don't lie about it, man. I mean, Carson Wentz isn't vaccinated. He doesn't lie about it. He goes through the protocols, good on you. Going through this holistic thing and what he's doing, that's, again, however you want to take that in, that's fine. But when you're lying and again, he knew what he was doing. I think it's a disgraceful act in those situations. Don't lie about it. Just be a man and just come up and say, hey, I don't want the vaccine because I think he's allergic to one of the ingredients or whatever. I'm sure he has his reasoning. Now, I did catch his interview yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, and a lot of what he says doesn't make any sense at all. Like some of the stuff about I don't want to put certain things into my body, but now, I'll call Joe Rogan and I'm going to put in the ivermectin, which is a horse dewormer. I can't deal with stuff like that because it makes no sense. Like you don't want to get the vaccine because you're afraid of certain things, but then you'll put in a parasite dewormer that's used for horses. So he comes off and then he blames, and that's another thing. And this is where my rant really goes. He always blames everybody but himself for things that he does. It's the media's fault this time around. It's the cancel culture fault. No, it's not their fault. You lied. You got caught because you ended up with COVID. I hope he ends up fine. But just man up and say, hey, I messed up. I should have been a little bit more aware. But don't blame everybody else. This cancel culture stuff where you lied, you got caught, and that's the end of it. So be a man and be like, you know what, I messed up. Should he be suspended? I don't think he should be suspended because, again, he lied. But at the end of the day, a lot of people in the sports industry lie about certain things. So I don't think he should be suspended. He's already missing the game against KC. And again, I don't know how Jordan Love will do, but that'll likely be a loss for Green Bay, which will cost him a little bit. So again, just man up. If you're not vaccinated, so be it. But just don't lie to everybody and take everybody for clueless jokers. So yeah, that's my rant on it.
I have definitely something to say.
Go ahead, baby.
Okay, because listen. So I watched the entire Pat McAfee interview, and I watched his Tuesday's interviews with Pat McAfee as well. And he did say he was immunized, right? Once again, he has the homeopathic and the holistic approach, and he had his own Harvard MD, of course, giving him a certain remedy to kind of fight COVID. So he wasn't lying about that. He said that. And he said as well, too, that everyone in the building in the Green Bay Packers facility knew he was unvaccinated since day one. Since day one, they knew. The thing is, in August, it didn't get picked up as much because, once again, he said he was immunized and just never became a thing. There's so many other things that were going on. It was more so about him coming back. So he did not lie. And I watched the video.
Hold on.
Okay, Igor. Okay, let me say this. So throughout that interview, he says everyone should have autonomy over their body, and I think, understand. Yes, you should have autonomy over your own body, but in the case when you're end up missing games because you have COVID because of this. He's like, oh, I heard got it from a COVID. So someone that had a vaccine. I personally, I think I'm pro-vax. Of course, I think I am, but I think I still understand where some people are when they're like, hey, I want to do things from my respecting people's views, having opinions about both sides. Once again, he paid a lot of these companies billions of dollars to get this vaccine. He did not lie. He said he was immunized. They didn't go any further. He said it. Yeah, he's taking it. He did once again. He does. One thing I will say, he has made $263 million in his career. He has access to all the doctors in the world. but he chose to listen to Joe Rogan and his team of Harvard MD professionals, so on and so forth. He has the right to do that. But at the same time, like, it was never brought. He said he just kind of trying to avoid it because it's true what he said. Health has become political. This entire thing has become political when it should be strictly, it's about health. It's about our lives, right? And I hate the fact that it's become so political, splitting people down the middle, being like, I will not comply, I will comply, whatever. He made a decision. It's his decision. Live with it. It's going to end up costing his team because they're going to lose inevitably tomorrow. And that's the bottom line. That's all I will say about it. But he did not lie. And he said that everyone in that facility, the NFL as well, knew that he was not vaccinated since the start.
Can I rebuttal that for a quick sec?
Go ahead, man.
So again, this is the exact quote at the press conference here. And this is after he says he's immunized. There's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys. So if you base that off of what he said, that makes it seem that he's vaccinated, and he can use that whole, well, I said I was immunized, like going a little. But when you say that, something like that, I think it's a person. I'm not going to judge those guys that haven't been vaccinated. That to me makes it seem that I've been vaccinated, and I know a couple guys on the team that haven't. So we shouldn't judge those guys. He was one of those guys, so he can say he was one of those guys. He was one of those. If you're going to say, I'm not going to judge those guys, you're one of those guys. So come up and say, you know what, I'm not vaccinated. There's no reason to say I'm immunized or any of that baloney. You're not vaxxed. And that's it. You're just hiding. You didn't want the media scrutiny. And I get that. But at the end of the day, this makes it seem 10 times worse. It's a media firestorm. There's doctors out there that, again, they don't work for the NFL or anything. They want him suspended and stuff like that. I don't think he should be suspended because I think that's a little much. But again, he definitely walked the line. And to me, again, Brand says it wasn't a lie. To me, it was definitely a little white lie where he was like, I'm immunized, but it's not the vaccine, which again isn't the approved situation for the NFL anyways, because they consider you unvaccinated. So you're not really immunized at all in terms of that. So he definitely lied. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that.
Rob, you want to jump in on this?
Rob.
I'm not going to bring as much passion as these two, but no, you know what? I've been critical of Aaron Rodgers and his character. I don't want to speak to, this and that, but if there's anybody that I expect in the league not to listen to doctors, to kind of be a conspiracy theorist, to do this, it is Aaron Rodgers, because he has shown that questionable stuff. And there's something that ties into, when he falls behind in playoff games, he struggles. And it's got to do with stuff of he's kind of he's a different kind of cat. And this, I'm not surprised that this is happening to him. Now, again, I agree with some of what he says. I agree with the political stuff, the health. I agree with a lot of what he says, but I'm not surprised that it's him saying it.
Right. And so he said it too. Go ahead. Sorry, I was going to say, he said it too in an interview as I watched before we came on here, is that this should be more so a conversation and not controversy. We're talking about a guy's vaccine status at this point. It's just gotten to the point where all this stuff is kind of separated. I don't like the fact he quoted MLK, by the way. That was really
okay. So that was weird. But another thing I want to say just before we get to that was, at the end of the day, I guess that the NFL knows your vaccination status, right? So he's not lying to them. If he's lying in the media in an interview, that's a different story. But I'm pretty sure that the NFL is fully aware of who got the shot and who didn't. Now, I wanted to get on that MLK thing really quick, and then we'll get into one other topic in the games. So I read that yesterday, and from what I gathered, Brandon, maybe you can pull up the quote quickly, the actual quote, because I don't have it here. But he said something along the lines of, the headline I read, it was either Sports Illustrated on Instagram I saw. They said that Aaron Rodgers was comparing himself to MLK, which everybody in the comments ripped it, and I don't think that was true. I think he said this to me looks like an MLK situation or something like that. So he was not bring up the quote and we can kind of quickly debate it, but he did not say I am like MLK.
No.
Yeah.
I will say that one of the funniest parts of the interview was when he said that he brought his research to the NFL and they called him a quack. Yeah, and they called him a quack. I thought that was.
He thought it was a quack. No.
It was like an NFL IG memes. And then I saw that quote and it said when you're asked to show your document, it was Joe Rogan and a quack and then a few other people. I was crying at that.
The thing with that, like the thing with the Rogan cocktail that he took, those, I mean, the ivermectin thing has been proven that that's not really effective, and it's pretty crazy with the horse thing. Those
that's the best one ever. That's the best one ever.
Rob,
that's the best one.
Those antibodies thing, though, that has been proven that it actually does help you. So they cost like $3,000. So a guy like Rodgers can obviously afford it, but that actually, those monoclonal antibodies, that has been proven to really help you with COVID and stuff like that. So there's some truth to it.
Yeah. So he said, I'd like to add to the mix as an aside, but the great MLK said you have the moral obligation to object to unjust rules and rules that make no sense. So pretty much he's saying that like the vaccine, the rollout, he said a lot about like, oh, Trump said you should take ivermectin, and everyone said, oh no, don't get the vaccine because it's Trump. And then as soon as Biden got into office, of course everyone's like, oh, the left is like, no, you have to get vaccinated, There's some truth to what he said as well too, but once again, I don't want to be political because it just became a big thing. But Aaron Rodgers is like, yes, he did say he's immunized. He did not say he's vaccinated, right? That's on the media. Like they didn't get after his ass in August. They didn't do their homework either. So on the media as well, they didn't do the homework in August. All right. And of course, people were still trying to learn about this vaccine back then as well too. So hey man, everyone has their choice. It's their bodies. And hey, if you ruin your season over it, it's fine. But he has 10 days. Apparently he gets up at 5 a.m. to get tested 300 times. He doesn't wear his mask in the facility because it's around vaccinated players. He said he got it from a vaccinated person. It's pretty stupid. But yeah, it is what it is, man. At this point, he is a weird guy. Just like Rob said, he's a different guy.
Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, the only person I can think of that's similar is another guy that Igor's not a fan of. That's always surrounded by controversy. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, right? Like a guy that there's no coincidence. When controversy is around you all the time, a little bit has to be on you. And yeah, the quote here is, Randy already said, the great MLK said you have a moral obligation to reject unjust rules and rules that make no sense. So he pretty much what he said is he just gave a quote. And then people said he's comparing himself to MLK.
He's not comparing himself to MLK. But it was it was kind of weird to say that. Like, because talking about segregation and now vaccine.
Just just fess up about it. Say, hey, I'm not comfortable getting the shot. He could even use he's allergic to that ingredient thing. I would have been like, okay, man's allergic. He's afraid of a bad reaction. So be it. Don't say I'm immunized. Like, come on. Like he knew what he was doing.
At the end of the day, I think that what he's doing is he's really just trying to fuck with the media, right? He doesn't respect them, obviously. And to a media thing, it's tough because a lot of people, whether they're good people or whether it's political or not, some people they get tired of the media and they just fuck with them because they have to answer questions or else they'll be fined, as Marshawn Lynch provided to us.
But even so, it's like you're being asked these questions. Like if you're in A-Rod's position and you thought, hey, I don't want to get the vaccine. I'm good. I'm in the best. I'm an NFL player. I eat the best food. I drink water. I do all these things. Would you want the media to kind of run with the carousel saying you're vaccinated? Like you're not Carson Wentz.
Well, I mean, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, like they've just followed the protocol. The media hasn't really given them a ton of slack about it. Maybe Rodgers is, I guess, a little bit of a higher profile, obviously, but I don't know. I don't think, now that knowing what happened now, I definitely think he regrets not saying, the truth back in August, because it's become a whole firestorm and now he's under all sorts of scrutiny. So I don't know if it was worth it.
We'll end with that. I was going to say, lastly, not even on Rodgers, we're going to find out, I guess, how good Jordan Love is with Matt White kind of showing who he is and Josh Johnson even in that system. Now we get to see another young quarterback come in and you get thrown into the fire and see how they do against a really bad defense. We'll get to that game a little bit later. Lastly, Rob, maybe I'll go to you first since you haven't chimed in too much on this. Your thoughts on OBJ and being released by Cleveland? Any thoughts on that?
This was 2 years too late. This should have happened 2 years ago. They should have gotten some assets for him. Now he's not worth the cap hit. And we see these trades where it's like we see a good player at 28 get traded for like a 6th round pick and we freak out. This is cap management by Cleveland. Nobody's going to pick up his waiver. Nobody's going to pick up his waiver pickup because they're going to have to pay him like $25 million a year. But it's just bad asset management. And I'm not surprised that it's a team that's been historically dysfunctional. So they should have traded him at least a year ago, if not 2, when they saw it wasn't working. But that's Cleveland.
He's entering his 3rd year now, right?
4th, I think. No,
Cleveland now already.
I believe
3rd.
Is it his 3rd?
Yeah.
He got injured, right? He got injured the first time.
After that first year, though, you could see it wasn't working, and it's kind of like the guy that just he waits too long, or like the relationship that just waits too long to end, where it's like one side,
right?
Yeah, and it's like maybe
This should have been done a while ago.
Should have been done earlier, and I'm not going to speak more to that, but yeah, it's just too late.
Any quick thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, one thing I'll say about that is OBS, his dad, actually putting that video, showing that he's open on every play. Like, you don't know what a quarterback goes through. You don't know exactly what happens when the quarterback gets the ball. They're going through progression, and you have 5 guys rushing your face. He made like a slant and go, and there's a safety over top of him. If he throws the ball, he can get killed. So the dad putting that video out there is like, okay, super ignorant.
That was
you have no idea.
Yeah. The straw that broke the camel's back. And it's tough because obviously we don't – and Baker Mayfield is another guy that's a bit of a strange dude, and I'm not I don't think neither of us are the biggest fan of him. But at the end of the day, when you're a quarterback and let's say he's your best receiver, it's in your best interest to win the game. And if he's the best guy and he's open, you want to get him the ball. OBJ, there's been – the LeBron James tweet I didn't like, not surprising to Igor, but Baker Mayfield can throw a football, right? And I don't understand. So now he's going to go to a team, the waiver wire, if he does get picked up, it's going to be a bottom feeder team with probably not as great quarterback. What's his excuse going to be then? Does he need to go to Aaron Rodgers or to Tom Brady to prove that he's an elite wide receiver? Because you can get jobbers to be a wide receiver on those teams.
I think he's got to go to a better, the Browns, those last few, they've always been a run-heavy team. So it was never really that good a fit for him because he was always a guy that, wants the ball, and he wasn't really getting that, like, his share with them, running Chubb and Hunt and so forth. So he's definitely got to go to a team that has a better fit. They've mentioned that, I've seen reports that the Patriots would be pretty interested in the whole situation. So,
everybody would, right?
The wide receiver spot is a little bit, isn't the greatest out there. But, yeah, he needs to go to a team that's a little bit more pass-heavy because I could see how he was getting frustrated because the Browns do run the ball more than a lot of teams in the NFL, and he wasn't really getting the targets. And when he was, sometimes, Baker's throws were pretty terrible. So, but he's always been a wild cat, so I'm not surprised that this happened either.
But part of the problem was that Baker was forcing him the ball. And we've all played sports, and we've all played with great players, and you overcompensate. I said this about the Leafs power play, where when Austin Matthews is in the power play, it doesn't look as good because they force feed him the puck. He's a great player, but it just when he's
let
out,
the game come to you, right?
Yes, and we've all been there where you play with a good player. Like I play hockey with good players, and it's like I'm just going to force him the puck because he's really good. It never worked because
it's not in the flow of the game.
He always forced him the puck, and there was a stat that Baker Mayfield and the Browns were actually better when Odell didn't play.
Yes, I remember that.
He spread the ball around, and that was Baker's that was his strength of not, he wasn't good enough just to give one guy the ball. He had to.
I was going to say, if that's the case, then that's on Baker Mayfield because you're the quarterback. You need to make the decisions on how to spread the ball around. So if you're forcing it, that's on you, not on OBJ.
But he was an elite talent. That's what, elite.
That's a physical tool. Nobody's really, but at the same time, Daniel Jones was throwing him a football for how long, right? Eli Manning at the end of his career, we know what those guys were like. Not great quarterbacks at that point of their career. So Baker Mayfield, a better thrower than them. But yeah, like I said, the proof will be in the pudding with the next team when we can kind of see, okay, this is now your third stop. Let's see how legit you really are because he's still in his prime. His physical gifts, he's still in his late 20s, I believe. So he still has, the excuses will be no more. At this point, guys, we'll get into our picks.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with game one. We'll run through all the games quick. Don't give any breakdown at the last 5. Give yours. So we'll go around the horn here. So Houston's going to Miami. Miami's 5.5. And Rob, will go to you.
I really like Houston here. Statistically, this is an awful game. Houston, 31 offense, 29 defense. Miami, 30 offense, 31 defense. I can't remember seeing two teams that are just bad at everything. Tyrod Taylor might be back. And if that's the case, then I really like Houston. But either way, it's a free roll in terms of if he comes back, you're getting a steal of a number. If he doesn't, Houston still might be the better team here. Tua, he's been playing better, but he does have an injured finger. So it is a free roll if you get a chance to get Houston. And if Tyrod Taylor comes back, I would argue that Houston might be the favorite in this game. So
yeah, just check the Tyrod Taylor thing. I don't see anything yet. So Brandon, we'll go
probable. I think they said.
Yeah. For a change, these two teams can't lose this week, or one of these teams can't lose this week. So I'm gonna take Miami. Miami 5.5. If Tyrod Taylor plays, it's going to be a difference, but I'm just going to take Miami at home to actually capitalize here.
I'm surprised there that Miami's defense is as bad as you said, Rob, at 31 or whatever it is, because I thought that they were at least, they have the gifts, their corner. I thought they were better than 31st, but I guess when you're down the whole game and your offense is kind of turning the ball over, you're probably giving up more points anyways. Igor, to you.
Yeah. Again, the number at 5.5 is a little bit surprising considering how bad both the teams have been. I guess Miami at home, they figured that it might be an easier victory there. I probably wouldn't play the game, but I would definitely lean Texans.
Texans, okay. I'm going to go Miami. I think they're the better team here. I think that if Tyrod is coming back, he's not going to be 100%, so I'll go with Miami. They've been terrible against the spread and terrible at home this year. We kept talking about the heat, the humidity. Let's see if it helps in there. I'll take Miami in the 5.5. All right, Rob, we'll go with you again. Denver's traveling to Dallas. Dak is supposed to be back. Denver is trying to, I guess, to go for a 2-game win streak here, and Dallas is a 10-point favorite with the boys returning. So Dallas last week wins and covers. Best team against the spread.
Yeah, this is like the first time I think they said in like 30 years that the team's basically gone 7-0, trying to go 8-0. This is actually another one of my 5 games. I'm going to take Denver plus 10. Spread has moved up 1.5 points. Dallas again 7-0 against the spread. Dak hobbled on that knee, I believe his knee's injured. 73% of the money is on Dallas. And Denver's got a lot of injuries, but both left tackles are out in this game. Unfortunately for Dallas, one of them, their left tackle, is Tyron Smith. And I don't know what the stat is, but when Tyron Smith is not in the game, Dallas is a completely different team. I believe they cover at like a far less spread, or they even win at a far less spread. So Tyron Smith, who's one of the best left tackles, is out. 10 is a lot of points. I'm going to take Denver here, plus the 10.
I'll just throw in some more injury updates here. So Amari Cooper's questionable. And then also
Noah Fant probable.
COVID, so Noah Fant's going to be out as well. Like I keep saying, you feel like he's out all the time. Other than that, just guys that have been out. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Von Miller's not going to be chasing Dak at all in that bum knee, right? So I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to cover the 10 points at home. They've been hot at home. I'm going to take them, and I don't think this is going to be – it's going to be a close game, but I think they're going to pull away probably in the fourth quarter.
Igor?
I like the Broncos in this situation. I think it's a lot of points. Even though Von Miller is gone, I think, getting Judy back for another week, even without Fant, I think they have enough offensive weapons. Again, you're counting on Dak also staying healthy the entire game with that knee. So, yeah, I'll take the Broncos. I think it's too big a number. I think it should be more around 7.5 maybe. So I'll take the Broncos to cover. Yeah.
I don't know. The line to me makes sense, and I've tried to bet against the teams that keep covering every week, and for a while I got burned. I keep saying Kansas City last year. I was a victim of that. They were supposed to cover every week. They never did. I'm going to go with Dallas here. I'm going to make an effect because I don't think that Denver's going to be able to keep up with the scoring. And I think that Denver's defense isn't what it was. I think they're going to have a tough time with that powerful offense. Brandon, we'll go to you. Cincinnati at home coming off a loss to the Jets. 2.5-point favorites to Cleveland. Go ahead.
Why do you have to say that, man? Why do you?
I had to.
My entire weekend was ruined in that Mike White. Mike White did the perfect thing. He won the game and got injured so he can get the bag. But yeah, I'm gonna take Cincy to bounce back here. With 2.5 points against Cleveland. I'm just gonna go with them because usually when I go against them, they usually burn me. So I'm gonna go with them. 2.5 points at home. Zach Taylor's got those guys going. They're gonna be motivated. They're not gonna make any more mistakes, and the defense can play better. So I'm taking Cincy.
Rob?
Not in my 5, but I was very fearsome of Cincinnati last week, so I would play on them this week. I think they bounce back. It's a brutal loss. Whenever you lose the Jets, there's almost like a it almost refocuses you. So I would lean Cincinnati in this game.
Tennessee went on a win streak after they lost to the Jets.
Right.
So maybe Cincinnati's going to come back and follow there.
I should have listened to Rob last week. Wow.
The Cincinnati Bengals, a survivor disaster. I think about 80% of teams were just got dismantled by the Bengals. Again, it is a bounce back spot here. I think at home to the Browns. How I like that field goal number and at 2.5. So if I can get the home team at 2.5 in one of these type of division battles, I'll definitely take it. I'll take the Bengals to cover.
Hot take: Cincinnati was never as good as we thought they were. Just like talk about my Tennessee Titans.
Talk about Titans.
Cleveland's going to win this game. Cincinnati's going to come back to earth.
Wow.
And Cincinnati went from the top team ranked in the AFC. We talked about that last week. They dropped to 5th after just one loss. And Rob talked about it last week. He went on a bit of a stat rant there where he was talking about how the team of a double-digit favorite had not lost yet this year. And we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. A lot of Survivor teams just kept taking the big spreads, and I said, that's a recipe for disaster. At some point, ended up being that. I'm going to go with Cleveland here to win. I guess I'm the only one on Cleveland. I'll pick them. Next game, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings traveling to the Ravens take on Lamar Jackson. 6-point favorites for Baltimore. Rob, go ahead.
I didn't have a handicap for this one, so I'll cede to you guys, and then I'll give you a pick at the end.
All right, I'll go in. I love Minnesota here. Baltimore's been another team that's covered most of the season, especially their home games. We know they've been a really good team. Minnesota's turned it around. I think they started off 0-2, and then they've been on a bit of a winning streak ever since. Last week, tough loss. I'm going to take Minnesota to bounce back. To be honest, I have them winning this game, but I'm going to take Minnesota to cover the spread there, plus the 6. Igor, let's go to you.
Yeah, I'm again, the Ravens coming off a bye, and after that bad loss, and again, they've been really good at home for the most part. Again, I just, with an under a touchdown spread, the Vikings come off a loss to a backup quarterback. I just can't see it. I think the Ravens win the game by 10 points.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah, this Kirk Cousins at 1:00, man. This is where he shines.
That's what I'm saying.
He shines. It's just that has me, contemplating. But I'm gonna go with the Ravens coming off the bye. They need to get a bounce back win. I'm gonna say at home as well too. Vikings don't really win too much in Baltimore over the past decade. I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens to 6 points.
Rob, come to the dark side.
See, and this is why I didn't like this, because I wanted to take Minnesota this week, but Baltimore is off a bye. So this is a flip.
The teams that are coming off byes have not done well. I was gonna say, if we look at that, but they've not done well against cover, including New England.
No, but
historically.
But normally, and a lot of those teams, like the Chargers last week, we don't know if their coach is a good coach. It's usually good coaches off a bye are very good. That's why Andy Reid's like 19-1 off a bye or something. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip something here, and it came up with Houston, or no, it came up with Minnesota. So that's it. Yeah, flip of a coin for me.
I guess you can't lose if you're picking a team that's not fighting.
So can't win either.
Baltimore?
No, I'll go with you. I'll go with Minnesota just because I flipped.
Okay, nice. Next game, Henry Ruggs, unfortunately, obviously what happened.
Oh my gosh, man.
The person that passed away. It's crazy how fast your career and how your life can change in just a second. And that's why we won't even get into that. Vegas, 3-point favorites going to the Giants. A lot of people wrote off Vegas, and I know, Rob, obviously you at the beginning of the year said that a lot of people still had them finishing 4th after their hot stretch, but this is a team that's still here at this point. Brandon, do you like them?
So there's COVID. There's a COVID on the Giants and the Raiders, and of course the Henry Ruggs as well too. So this is like a COVID game. So it's in the Meadowlands. I'm gonna lean towards the New York Giants. I don't know what your question was. I think I missed the question there, but yeah, a lot of.
You think that the Vegas is legitimate still? That they're still kind of hanging around?
They still have. To be honest with you, Ruggs was kind of like a secondary receiver behind Brian Edwards, Zay Jones, and Hunter Renfrow. He was there. He still can blow the top off the coverage, but he was picked really high. He's a good player, but they're gonna lean, and they have the run. They have Kenny Drake, and of course they have they don't have Kenny Drake anymore. Kenny Drake, and they have exactly, Josh Jacobs. So he was just a guy in that system. So yeah, they're still good. And plus you got Darren, Waller. Darren Waller coming off of his injury. But I'm still gonna lean towards the New York Giants because it's a long trip for the Las Vegas Raiders to go into the East Coast. I think the Giants to bounce back here.
Rob?
I've always kind of tried to fade West Coast teams going east in the early morning slot, but I feel like typically they've been having a lot of success the last 4 or 5 years. And Vegas off a bye. The Giants basically played a Monday night game where they gave it their all against KC and came up short. So I would lean Vegas here, but very slight lean.
And Igor?
Yeah, I'm all in on Vegas here. I think their pass rush and their defense is going to give Daniel Jones a ton of problems. And if you're giving me only 3 points, I'll definitely take it. The Giants, they're Tony, Galladay, they're all banged up all over the place. They're all out. Shepard's out. They again, I don't think they have enough weapons to keep it up. So again, if it's a 3-point game for Vegas, I'm taking the Raiders. This will be in my 5.
I'm switching the pick to Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, I just saw y'all switching everything over, taking the Raiders. Give me the Raiders and everything. Sorry about that.
You got a clean sweep on Vegas here.
There you go. I already got.
Let's give a shout out to Rob. Let's give a shout out to Rob for not saying Oakland.
Yeah. No shots today. This weekend.
Can we give a shout out? Can I give a shout out to Joe for not giving me a whole whack of stats that I have no idea what to make of? And
it'll come at some point.
I don't know what to do with that.
I think at that point what happened was I was trying to make my pick, and then I was like, oh shit, Rob did. To Rob when I should have, and then you're like, you know what, Joe, you probably should have used that for your pick, and I was like, damn. Yeah. What was that game, anyways? Because I wanted to figure out what happened. You guys remember?
That was the Saints game, wasn't it? You were giving stats on the Saints game.
And the Saints won, and I was the only guy at the Saints.
And I called that. I called that. Yeah, no, I think Brandon thought I was crazy last week, but I'm like,
Brandon was actually the only one that took Tampa. I'm looking at it right now, and
I called that. He struggles in New Orleans during the regular season. I called that.
Yeah,
and the defense was horrible against freaking Simeon. The defense was horrible.
Yeah, I was surprised they were that bad. Yeah. That was the worst I've seen them play.
Yeah, well, they were due for a loss anyways. All right, let's actually go to New Orleans. So the Saints here, obviously Jameis done for the season. I think it was a torn ACL. Yeah. Rough way to go down on that scramble. So 6-point favorites against Atlanta. We all generally fade Atlanta. Do you guys take New Orleans here? Trevor Simeon starting. Brandon?
Yeah, I'm going to take Trevor Simeon, and it's going to be a combination of him and Taysom Hill. I have Taysom Hill actually on my fantasy team right now. I might have to drop him. But yeah, I'm going to go with Saints for sure. Back at home, off a big win. Atlanta, just not going to put it together against them in this divisional matchup. I'm taking New Orleans. 6 points.
Yeah, and Ridley is, I'm assuming he's done for the season. Rough for me. I have him fantasy or a big L for me. I don't think he's coming back with those personal issues. So that's another weapon that they're down. Patterson and Pitts, I guess the targets there. So Igor, make your pick.
Yeah, this is a tough game because, again, another like a division-based situation. And, I mean, the Falcons have been a little bit better recently. You don't know what you're going to get out of the Saints in terms of, again, Taysom Hill's just coming off of a concussion. I don't know if I trust Trevor Simeon enough, but I mean the Falcons are so bad. I got to go Saints. I wouldn't bet it, but yeah, I'd have to go Saints just because the Falcons, no Ridley, the offensive weapons are a little bit off. But yeah, I'm not too thrilled with Trevor Simeon, but I'll take the Saints.
The Saints could really use OBJ too. Rob, go
ahead. I stay away from Atlanta games, but I have watched a lot of Trevor Simeon, being a Bronco fan. That guy, I wouldn't lay 6 points with him ever in any world on any league. So the over/under is 41.5. I like the under in this game. And again, I've said when the over/under is very low, points are at a premium. So
take the dog.
6 points, yeah, you're going to want to lean towards Atlanta. But I will never. I don't bet Atlanta games because you don't know what you're going to get. So I lean Atlanta here.
It's time for me to bring up the stats, Rob, about New Orleans.
You should have done it first.
You made your picks. Offense, terrible. 30th. We're not used to seeing that. Passing 31st, rushing 10, obviously with Kamara. Total yards on defense, 10th. The number 2 defense against the rush. And number 4, just in points for total defense, Atlanta, giving up 27.9. So Atlanta's giving up 28 points a game, and the Saints are giving up 18 points a game. Saints obviously a much better team.
Do you have the rush stats for the Atlanta defense? If Atlanta stops the run, I think this is an easy Atlanta play here.
Atlanta defense against the run, 25th in the NFL, so it's not working for you.
So maybe
Kamara might just run all over them.
Yeah.
The only thing I guess here, Atlanta looks they're in the bottom of pretty much everything. Their defense total of 14th, which is pretty average, 369 a game. But yeah, they're passing D. That's really good. Rob, you talked about when the under is low, take the dog. I really like that, and I like New Orleans. So typically, based on those numbers, I would take Atlanta. I'm going to have to go with the guys here. It's going to be a clean sweep for New Orleans. I think that they're going to win this game. I don't think Atlanta's I don't want to say they're going to get shut out because I've said that before, but I think that they might get to 10 points, but probably that's it. And I'm expecting New Orleans to kind of run all over them. And if Hill's going to be their quarterback as well, I think that they're going to have an easy win. Next game, Buffalo going to Jacksonville. Buffalo 14.5-point favorite. Seems like Buffalo is always in a 2-touchdown favorite spot. Igor, go ahead.
Buffalo had a really rough game for the most part against Miami up until the fourth quarter where they ended up covering. You know what, like Urban Meyer's tactics and no James Robinson. He's going to have to probably rely on Carlos Hyde. I think Robinson is out. You know, they're passing the ball to like Agnew and using guys that realistically they're like should be 4th or 5th options. This to me looks like a Buffalo team that, you know, is going to rout them. So I hate taking double digits, but I think this is going to be a rout because I just can't see them keeping up. The Jags defense isn't great. I think this is going to be you know, Allen coming out and it's a 4 touchdown game. So I'm taking the Bills.
Brandon?
Yeah, well, no, James Robinson is playing, but I still think that the Buffalo Bills are gonna, whenever they have a big spread, they just seem to cover. And they love playing in those warm environments too. They haven't lost a game in warm environment this year, and have had more than 27 points in every warm game they've had. The stat I picked up. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills, 14.5 points for sure.
Quick question before we go to Rob. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments here talking about a Manning curse with Buffalo. Anybody know anything about that?
Manning curse.
A Manning curse with Buffalo. Buffalo's going to lose because of the Manning curse. I don't know. Anyways, Rob, your pick?
Very square, but it would be Buffalo or pass. And I wouldn't have the heart to take Jacksonville in this game. But I believe Brandon just said they seem to kind of run up the score in these games. Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I don't have they beat up Miami last week. I think they beat up a lot of the bad teams this year.
They did. Houston, Washington, they're all blowouts.
Yeah, they've blown out some bad teams. So that seems to be their MO. So I would.
But in a lot of those games, I remember watching them. I don't know if it was the Washington one or maybe it was the Houston one. Houston came down. They had the ball like 1st and goal at the 7, and they went for a touchdown. They did kick the field goal. That really deflated them, and I don't think they scored a point the rest of the game. Lean to my pick. I'm going to take Jacksonville here. They're probably going to be a 14-point. It's a 14.5-point spread. I'll take Jacksonville there because I don't think that Buffalo's going to cover every game. And I think at some point Jacksonville does have to cover. So just on that, I don't love the pick, but I'm going to go Jacksonville there. Next game, Pats, Igor, we'll go to you. So New England's 3.5-point favorites at Carolina. I'm hearing word that McCaffrey might be back. Go ahead.
And I've been surprised recently with how the Patriots have done. I thought that they lose to the Chargers. Carolina's had its issues. The Patriots again not really great on the road, but I've doubted them the last few weeks, and I'm gonna take them. I think they're starting to come together. I'm gonna take the Patriots to cover the spread, and even though, like I said, I think if McCaffrey's back, that definitely changes the dynamic for Carolina, but. I think the Patriots are starting to roll. They're starting to get it together, and that was a big Chargers win. And I think they can cover that and win the game. I think they might be overall the better team.
Brandon.
Yeah, I agree with Igor for sure. Like great. I think that's the best win of the season they had last week. I think they're going to continue that trend. I don't think Carolina is really that good. I think they're going to go in there and stomp them. And I don't think Christian McCaffrey's playing, so it's more Chuba Hubbard, rushes. So taking the Patriots and our boy, the quarterback there in New England to actually, get some good, Mac Jones to get some good run on the road.
Rob?
Everything screams Carolina here.
Yeah, everything.
I just, you know what? I don't trust AFC East quarterbacks against Bill Belichick. Like we've heard Sam Darnold say, I saw ghosts playing against Belichick. So just because it's Belichick, I would lean New England, but everything here is screaming take Carolina. You've got the hook. Everything about this game screams Carolina, but I would still lean New England.
Okay, I'm going to take Carolina. It's one of my favorite picks of the week. New England's been covering for a while. They've been winning for a while, surprising a lot of teams. Carolina's a team that, even with that Eagles pick that a lot of us were on a few weeks ago, I think everybody was on Carolina. Carolina was a 3.5-point favorite. They ended up losing that game at the end of it. Carolina has to win at home at some point. They have to cover at home at some point. So Carolina will be in my 5 for this week, regardless of if Christian McCaffrey's in. I think it's a lock. If he's not, I still think they're going to, worst case, lose this game by a field goal. Let's move on to the Chargers and Philly. So the Chargers were the darling at the beginning of the season. They ran into a bit of some issues recently. Still 1.5-point favorites going to Philly. Rob, we'll go to you.
One of my 5 games, I got Philly here. The Chargers are awful against the run. If Philly decides to run, they should be good. Short home dog here. Philly D, 9th in the league. Sneaky, really good D. And 77% of the money is on LA. And so I'm going to take Philly here in the upset.
Philly. All right. Igor.
Yeah, I gotta say that Philly made me look really foolish with that Detroit pick last week.
Oh yeah, we actually pulled the clip on that one. That was a rough one.
Like I said, I thought, hey, this is a great spot for the Lions, and they just absolutely dismantled them like
lunatic. Igor.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? It's a 1.5 point situation. I think the Chargers are really reeling. I think that defense is going to give Jalen Hurts some problems, though. So I have a slight lean towards the Chargers because I just can't. I think this would be a third loss in a row. I can't really see it in that context. Even though again they have been reeling. I think Herbert ends up having a pretty decent game. I'll take the Chargers in a slight situation there.
Brandon.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles. I think their Sirianni's got something going. He's he has a beat LA shirt on in practice apparently. So hey, I'm taking the Eagles. Lasso. Yeah, he is like Ted Lasso. He has a believe on the side. Yeah, he's a Ted Lasso of the NFL. I'm taking the Eagles. I say they bounce back here, get a big win against a good, formidable team, and take the Eagles. I'm with Rob here.
All right, so Igor, you were saying that you thought they had lost 3 in a row. So they're 3-2 in their last 5. Lost to the Patriots, had the bye. Got embarrassed by the Ravens. Then they had that big win over the Browns, 47-42, that shootout, and then they beat the Raiders 28-14. And then before that, the Chiefs, and they lost to the Cowboys by 3 in week 2. I think this is a bounce back game for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Philly's 0-3 at home, which is very surprising. They are going to have to win at some point. Very, I guess, uncharacteristic of them. But I'm going to take the Chargers here. I don't want to say this is the Chargers' season or anything like that, but if they want to keep pace in this division, and if the Vegas loses any ground this week, this is a game that they're going to have to win. So I will take the Chargers there. NFC West battle. Arizona's traveling to San Fran. San Fran's 2.5-point favorites. Now the Cardinals are very banged up into this game. I know that Murray's banged up. Watt's done for the season, surprising to no one. Brandon, go ahead.
Hopkins is out. AJ Green's out as well too. Yeah, so it's just a wash, and they have so many injuries on the Cardinals. Obviously, JJ's out as well too. Gonna go with the 49ers to win this game in 2.5 points because just too much. I don't see if Kyler plays, it's gonna shift a bit, but he's not gonna have the same mobility, and he's gonna go against a guy like Nick Bosa. I'm gonna take the 49ers in this game.
Rob,
I love the 49ers. Love them in this spot. Forget those guys. Here's some other names. Justin Pugh's probable. Questionable. Murray, O-lineman. Rodney Hudson, O-lineman, questionable. Max Garcia, O-lineman, questionable. Jimmy Ward, questionable. The list goes. J.J. Watt, obviously out. The list goes on and on. Kyler, obviously hurt.
Ankle.
Yeah. Arizona Fugazi. It was a Fugazi win against San Fran the last time they played. It was a false final. So, and I don't think I've ever seen this before. I can't remember last time. 90% of the bets are on Arizona, and I have an 80-20 rule. 90-10 is like
unheard of.
So this is a easy San Fran, and this spread has moved 5 points already. So,
why was it a Fugazi win before? Because quarterback was out?
San Fran outplayed them. They should have won the game. The San Fran quarterback.
Trey Lance was in. Trey Lance.
Yeah, they had a lot of bad turnovers. They had a fourth and goal, and they got stopped at the one when he shouldn't have. San Fran should have won the game, so it was a bit of a false final. And I believe the spread was small in that one. I think it was Arizona by like 5.5. So they barely covered.
It was 5.5. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that because I took San Fran and I loved it. And San Fran should have covered, and then they didn't. So I like playing the team that loses in a division game. I like playing them in the second game, especially if I like the team. I like San Fran. So, yeah. So I think it's tough to beat teams twice. So I'm going to take – this is an easy one for me. San Fran, I love them. I'm going on a limb here.
So when's the last time a 7-1 team was a dog to a 3-4 team?
Yeah.
That never happened. Yeah.
Igor.
Yeah, no, I think the guys are making some solid points. I think a lot of a banged-up Cardinals team. I think that defense against Rodgers last week wasn't very good, even though that Rodgers was missing Devontae Adams. Without Watt in there, there was a definite difference. I think everything leans for 49ers here. Just the health aspects. I think the 49ers also might be getting George Kittle back this week. So that'll help the passing game to go along with Debo. Ayuk's finally starting to get more targets as well. So I think the 49ers are in a real good spot here. And I think they win the game and cover.
I think Debo he's questionable. That's the one. Yeah. So, yeah.
The questionable guys usually play, though.
Sometimes.
So I have DeAndre as questionable. Brandon, you said he was out?
Yeah, DeAndre he's questionable. He's questionable right now, but like it
says viewed as a game time call. That's the last I saw of it. It's tough. Rob, you said 90-10. Where was that on? Where'd you catch it?
Oh, I can't tell you my sources, but 90.
Wow.
90-10.
He's calling Tony Soprano on the fucking back line, seeing where the money's coming in.
About a bing.
I got 64-36 on my very public The Score app, so that's a big difference, 64-90.
90.
It's tough. Like I said, every time you're seeing a team that's 7-1 as a dog, I really liked Arizona going into it. Another thing too is there was a Thursday night game, so they're getting that extra rest, whether they're banged up or not. That's got to help them. I don't love this pick, but I'm going to take Arizona. So I will.
Colt McCoy. This is a match.
Texas Longhorn legend. Okay, so Brand, let's go to you. Justin Fields and Chicago's traveling to Pittsburgh, and with Pittsburgh looks like they might have turned the corner, even though they're probably fakes, with that win over the Browns. Pittsburgh, a 6-point favorite at home. Who do you got?
I think it's just easy. I think you just go with the old man. You have to go with the Ben Roethlisberger there. And I just think in the spotlight in these primetime games, the Steelers will show up. And I think this is a game where Matt Nagy's going to be back off the COVID list. He should have probably stayed off of it. He's just never come back to the facility. He's back now, so that means all bad things for the Bears. Therefore, the Steelers will cover and roll in this game. It'll be shellacking.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to preface that way. That's a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, it's a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, my mistake for that. Yeah, Monday Night Football. I'll make my pick really quick. I'm going to take Chicago here. I like them in that spot. I think that their defense is really going to suffocate Roethlisberger, a guy that's, as we know, not very mobile. Khalil Mack is running at you over the field in that front seven. I will take Chicago in the points. To be honest, I think that they might end up winning this game because, to me, Pittsburgh is not legit.
Circle this game. Yeah.
We'll
did we skip the Sunday night game?
I'm going to come back, and we
come back to it.
Come back to my mistake.
Okay.
We'll come back, but let's finish this one.
Okay. I lean Chicago. I didn't really do much of a handicap here. Over under 39. So again, points are premium. I'm going to fade Pittsburgh down the stretch. They're an older team. I think Ben's going to start to deteriorate, as we saw last year with that 11-0 start, and then he couldn't throw the ball more than 20 yards. So I would lean Chicago here. It's a lot of points.
Igor?
Yeah, you guys are completely forgetting the golden rule that you always bet against Chicago if Nagy's on the sidelines. So
thank you, Igor. Thank you.
That's the golden rule.
Thank you.
You know what? The situation is, again, the passing game got a little bit better last week, but Fields made some incredible plays. He looked great. He really did look great without Nagy there. The Steelers, again, what's their strength? It's that defensive line with Watt and a few of the other guys they got going over there. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they're going to really get in on Fields there, and with no real passing game, I just don't see them keeping track with Pittsburgh there with Najee running the ball. And again, Ben's actually been better the last few weeks. That was a big win against Cleveland. I got to take the Steelers here because I just don't trust Nagy to have a good game plan. And I think TJ Watt's going to cause some havoc. So yeah, I'll take the Steelers.
Don't trust Nagy. Trust that defense of Chicago in the spotlight.
Nagy is a parasite. Nagy's a parasite. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, man. I'm telling you.
I like the under here. They are begging people to take the over. Like 39. This is an unheard of over under in 2021. Unheard of.
That's very low.
When Chicago plays, it's usually a 10-7 game. But I hear you. Igor, your pick was Pittsburgh.
Steelers. Yeah, Steelers.
All right, let's go to the game that I missed here. Green Bay with Jordan Love traveling to Kansas City. Kansas City is a 7.5-point favorite. Obviously, there's been a big swing. I don't remember what the line was before. Rob,
2.5, I believe. I think
for Green Bay.
No, KC. I think open as 2.5-point favorite.
Wow. Okay. Rob, we'll go with you then first.
I didn't do this one. I didn't like this one. I'm staying away. Aaron Rodgers. I wanted to take Kansas City, but it seems like I went so crazy when Seattle lost Russell Wilson that it just seems like guys step up.
Make up for it, yep.
Yeah, and I think Green Bay – I don't think Green Bay gets the respect of a roster that they deserve. So at 7.5, I would kind of lean Green Bay of – I think they're going to have a good defensive game. But I don't really trust Gordon Love, so I would stay away from this game. It did open at 2.5 for Kansas City.
Brandon.
Yeah, I think I had the Chiefs earlier, but that's kind of boring. I'm going to trust Jordan Love. All the love on Sunday right there. I'm going to make sure I take the Green Bay Packers to cover the plus 7.5 points. I think he's going to step up. I think this is his moment. I think this is a time he can kind of show that he can play with the Devontae Adams, play with Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, these guys. And the defense will show up as well, too, in Aaron Rodgers' absence. They want to prove themselves as well. So, yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna take the Packers here.
Igor, do you like Aaron Rodgers' successor?
I do not like Aaron Rodgers' successor because I think it's a tough spot to be in. Going
against that Chiefs defense, that XFL defense.
It isn't as well. Again, remember, it's also whether the defense is rough or not, it's still a road game on making your first NFL start, and you probably a not anticipated one either. So obviously they'll get into practice reps and so forth. But Devontae Adams is still I think he's going to play. He was on the COVID list as well, so that'll definitely make a difference. I think the Chiefs are just they've been bad. Even against the Giants game, they weren't very good. A lot of turnovers. Kelsey was a ghost. They're due. They're due. Yeah, they're not well again. But offensively, you expect much better for them. I think Mahomes has a interception in every game. Eventually, they're going to have one of those games where they'll put the offense together. I think the Packers defense still missing Alexander. Is going to have a tough time covering a lot of those wideouts. I think in this type of environment, had it been Rodgers, obviously I'd make a completely different pick. But I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover that at home because I think Love will have his growing pains, and the Chiefs defense might give him some problems. So I'll take the Chiefs to cover.
I love Green Bay here. I think that a lot of people are going to say that Aaron Rodgers is out. Obviously, multiple or an MVP of this league, and they're going to jump on and say Kansas City. Kansas City hasn't covered, as we talked about all season. Kansas City's rushing defense 21st. I think even if Jordan Love were to struggle, you're just going to feed the ball to Aaron Jones. Why would you not, right? Especially with a rookie quarterback, feed the ball to him. You chew the clock. Make Kansas City make some tackles, then maybe go off the play action there. You still got Devontae Adams and a pretty decent, like Rob said, a really good roster that people kind of sleep on because Aaron Rodgers complains about it a lot. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good roster. And this team is 7-1, sitting at the top of the NFC. I love them. I'll take the points. I think they're going to end up winning this game. And if that's the case, Patty Mahomes, the guys, are going to have even more issues than they had before. Sunday Night Football. My team, it's a different look this week, Rob. It's a different look. We're going to find out, just like you said, is this a one-man team? You're probably right. We're going to find that out this week. Going to LA, taking on the Rams. The line has gone up. Let me just get the update here. The line is 7.5 for the Rams. It went up to 8.5. It's come down a little bit. Rob, you must love the Rams.
They are in my 5 picks.
They're in your 5. They gotta be.
I'm gonna full disclosure because I don't like Tennessee, but they were gonna make it in my top 10 power rankings this week had Derrick Henry not got hurt. But with Derrick Henry out, I am gonna take the Rams. Henry out here. I got some names. Henry's out. Dupree, Simmons, Brown, all questionable. 30 players for the Titans are on the injury list. That is it's a 54-man roster, 55-man roster, 30 players on the injury list. LA obviously just made the trade from my boy Von Miller, so they're going to be fired up. That they're going to be coming hot, and I believe
it's a letdown game, Rob.
Yeah. It's. I think that LA is going to be charged up. I think they're going to come out firing. I got LA here. I don't like taking spreads like this, but I'll take. I had them at 6.5. If it's 7.5, I still like it at 7.5.
Yeah, of course you do. You're a Titans hater. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a Titans hater as well. So Von Miller's questionable, Jalen Ramsey's questionable, and Robert Woods questionable. But that doesn't make any difference because A.J. Brown's questionable. So that means you have no threats on that team. Always questionable. Julio Jones is always questionable. Derrick Henry's out. Taylor Lewan, of course, is out too. This is going to be a stomping, all right? And I want to see the stomping so we can humble my boy Joe right here. I'm going to take the Rams with the 7.5 points, right? Because he's hating on my Cincinnati Bengals, so I got to do the same.
I don't hate on the Bengals. I like their team. I just threw some reality. I said, you know what? They're going to lose this game. Lo and behold, the squad lost to the Jets. It's a little bit of karma.
Hey, our teams are twins. Our teams are twins, man. We're just as good as you. Not as good as there we go, man.
I'd like to point out that my team stomped the Jets twice this year. I'm not doing great.
Division game.
Your coach stomped the Jets.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm gonna take the Rams 7.5.
You know what? I kind of disagree. I don't think that the Titans are a one-man team, but I think the issue is you got to see what you're going to get this week in terms of, they brought in Adrian Peterson, they got McNichols at running back and so forth. Are they going to be productive? Tannehill's done kind of well on the games that Henry's been out, so it's going to be a lot more on him. If there's no Julio Jones and so forth, this is a really bad matchup for the Titans because, again, the secondary, as we know, has been a bit of an issue. You're facing a Rams team that has a lot of Cooper Kupp. Woods probably will play. Again, Higbee. There's a lot of different threats in terms of aerial stuff. Van Jefferson. It's a bad matchup for the Titans either way. I think this number would probably be the same even if Henry was playing, maybe slightly lower. But everything says the Rams. I think the defense. Yeah, I would have to lean Rams on this. But I think the Titans are more than a one-man team, but this week it's a really bad matchup.
Rob, what did you say the line was before? Was it about like 5 or something like that? That would make sense.
I believe it opened at 6.5.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm interested to see really what Tennessee's going to do the rest of the season because just like, OBJ's gone, whenever Rodgers with Green Bay, whenever there's, whether it's an injury or there's something in the media, I feel like the rest of the team kind of steps up. Tennessee's defense, you guys know, was never been great, but they've really stepped it up the past few weeks that they've been scrutinized. I don't think the roster is as bad. Now, they've had some injuries like every other team. The corner they just drafted in the first round, I believe he's done for the year with a torn ACL. Their front seven's been better. Simmons, to me, is a pro bowler at defensive tackle. Now, if he's out, I don't like it, but I think that he's going to end up playing in this game. I'll take Tennessee plus the points. I think everybody and their mom is going to be taking the Rams in this one. And I think that Tennessee is going to keep it close. I don't think they have to keep Cooper Kupp in check. Like he's, got to be in the MVP discussion at this point, right? The guy already has 1,000 yards. He's been a one-man wrecking crew. Robert Woods hasn't put up those same kind of numbers, I guess, because they've looked at Kupp a lot. But if Tennessee can kind of maybe double team Kupp, beat them in other ways, they have a chance to win it. I'm interested to see if Tennessee's going to change their whole vrabel. Are they still going to run the ball? I know Vrabel said they're going to be very run heavy, but with the injuries at wide receiver, obviously AJ and Julio are always on the injured list this season. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be tuning in with the heartbreak. There's a lot of stress with you going into this game.
I do respect Vrabel. I think Vrabel is the most macho coach in the league. Yeah, he's been good, man. I think I respect him.
He's a player's coach. I like him. Just because I missed the last one. So for the last one, I have me down as Green Bay, Brandon down as Green Bay. Rob, you're also Green Bay?
Was it?
Kansas City. Kansas City and
Green Bay.
Yeah,
Green Bay, right?
I believe I did have Green Bay.
Green Bay, and then Igor, yours.
Kansas City for me.
Okay, so the only guy with Kansas City. All right, so we've gone through every game. Let's circle this one too. You guys ready for your 5-packs?
Yeah,
I am. Yeah, I'll go first Rob, if you guys want. I'm going to take the Rams, the aforementioned Rams. I got Houston plus the points, Denver plus the points, Philly plus the points, and San Fran, who was plus the points and now minus the points.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win there. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take San Fran. All right. I do have the Bills as well, too. And I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Igor.
So I'm going to go with Broncos and the plus 10. Let's see here. I'm going to go with the Raiders and the -3, the Bills and the 14.5, the Ravens minus the 6. And I'm going to take the 49ers and the 2.5.
Okay, so I'm going Green Bay plus 7.5, Chicago plus 6, Carolina plus 3.5, Minnesota plus 6, and I need a favorite, so I will go Miami minus 5.5.
That's your favorite.
Are we gonna do
those are good picks.
Are we gonna do our vaunted guarantee of the week that was 0-4 last week?
We were collective 0-4. We embarrassed ourselves last week, guys.
Terrible. That was awful, man.
Yeah. Rob, do you want to give yours?
I don't really want to, but if you're asking, I'll curse them and I'll go San Fran. I think San Fran's I love them. I love San Fran this week.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna fade that pick, Brandon.
Listen, if this doesn't win, I'm never betting this team again. I'm gonna take Cincy the 2.5 wins.
Oh man!
Oh, wow, you guys are going.
You guys are trying to go over 4 everybody again?
No, I mean, come on. Just
Igor, save us.
No, I'm gonna play a little bit more conservative than last week for sure. I'm gonna take the Raiders in the -3. I'm definitely not going on any of those primetime games. I think I'm gonna stick to the smaller squads over there. Raiders
All right,
minus.
My lock of the week, and I might even put in a solo bet myself on this. I love Minnesota plus the 6 points. Love them.
Wow.
Yeah, we're really going 0-4 again. Eh?
Yeah.
We might be.
Wow, this is bad, man.
Two of us should have taken the same pick, but switch.
Yeah, so we can guarantee opposite game.
Wait, who do you take again, Rob? What do you take again?
Rob has San Fran.
Someone take Arizona. Let's just guarantee one. That's
one of the games we're going to circle too. So we have the Green Bay game circled, and also I'm the only guy that took Arizona on that one. That's rough. We need to up the ante because nobody's gone 5 for 5. So it's going to be. You guys want to do either 2 pounds or a pound of wings and a pitcher of beer? We need some kind of incentive for someone to go 5.
Hey man, 5. 2 pounds is nice with me. 2 pounds and a pint is nice.
Well, you know what? You take whatever you want. You get the option for that one.
Joe, do you think we're not trying to get 5-0? Like,
I'm trying, man.
We're trying our hardest.
We're doing
you
our
guys
best.
are sabotaging your own picks at this point. Either that or the mom's calling you on your mind and gave the wrong picks.
Do we have like a season total? I would love to hear where I'm at because I've been off the rails the last few weeks.
No, I just have it week by week. I'll go through the 5 for last week then. So Brandon's pick for last week, we'll put you on the spotlight. Yeah. Cincinnati, Big L. Tennessee.
Cover.
Minnesota. I'm trying to look at who Minnesota played.
Minnesota covered.
Dallas.
Oh, they lost. Crap.
Dallas. Yeah.
Tampa Bay, not a cover. And Kansas City, not a cover. So a rough week.
I'm gonna change my pick. I'm gonna change my lock of the week. Okay, I'm gonna change my lock of the week because you read that off. I'm changing my lock of the week to the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Chargers.
Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni. I'm gonna give it that.
Igor, I'm cringing looking at yours right now. But I think you know what? Maybe not. So Igor took the Chargers. Big L. Igor's biggest loss of the season and potentially biggest loss of the whole show's existence has been the mortal lock of the Detroit Lions. We might post that clip of Igor going on a rant of why to take Detroit.
I mean, they were due, man. They were due.
They're due. They still are. Other than that, you had Atlanta. Who did Atlanta end up playing? Let me pull it up.
They lost. Yeah, they didn't cover either.
Denver, they did cover, right? I believe they covered. It was 3.5, and they covered by 7. There you go.
Okay.
And Jacksonville, who did not. They got killed. And I love Seattle last week. I was the only guy that liked Seattle last week. I think, Rob, you were pretty big on them as well.
I liked Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Rob's pick for last week.
I was 1-4, so me and Brandon ended up with the same already. It was a rough week.
I think I had a similar fate. I think my fate was roughly the same.
I was going to say, I thought Rob went 0 for 5, but he pulled out the one last second. So your win was San Fran. Your losses were Indy, Jacksonville, Minnesota, and the Chargers.
See, that Indy game, like
Carson that was a rough game. It was rough because they honestly should have won the game. Carson Wentz, he sold.
Yeah, they made up for me because I took him in Survivor on Thursday, so they kept me alive on Thursday.
Did everybody get one game right last week? Is that right, Brandon? You got one or two?
Yeah, I got one game.
So all 3 of you guys got one. So I won the week with 2 wins.
Wow.
I had Minnesota plus 14. Or sorry, Miami. What Miami did they end up covering? I had like 15.5 on Pro Line, but 14 they didn't. So we're all tied. Never mind. My mistake. Miami did not cover the lines that we had. So I had them. I had Indy. New Orleans was my pick of the week. They covered Minnesota and Kansas City.
So
we all went 1.
So you want us to get 5-0, and yet collectively we got 4 wins last week.
4
between the 4 of us.
We should just do like whoever wins this week should get everyone.
It could have been
that makes more sense.
It could have been worse. We could have had Brandon's Bengals on the Survivor and probably lost a ton of money.
That's what I did. I had them on the Survivor, man. I lost my entire
dignity. Putting salt in your wound. Salt in the wounds.
Literally, it is what it is. It's everyone took him in the Survivor pool, and there was 2 people left, and they like whatever. So like it's done. Yeah. So they just ruined my life. Yeah. Mike Waite, man. Mike Waite's smart.
I gotta get updates on people that are actually in the big ones. Rob, are you in any, or were you in one?
Oh yeah, I took Indy last week or this week. That just like the Thursday.
Oh, so you just got eliminated. How many people are left in that one?
No, you're still alive. He's still alive.
No, I took Indy on Thursday. Yeah.
Sorry. So who'd you? That's right. They played early. Who'd you take last?
Who'd you take last week?
I took the Rams. I had Cincy as my backup pick because you have to give a backup pick in case there's a COVID. So luckily, the Rams didn't have any COVID issues.
Who did the Rams play? I'm just checking the schedule.
Oh, Houston.
Houston. Yeah.
Oh, wow, you went ballsy on that one.
I took Rams early. Yeah. Took all the good teams early, man.
Well, Rob, props to you for still being in a survivor, man. At this point in the season, you're halfway through. We're in week 8, so we know there's the extra week. But I guess we're at the week point.
How many guys are in your league? How many guys are still alive in that league? In that survivor?
There's 600 and 150 took Indy, so about a quarter of the pool still in right now.
Wow, that's all.
And how many people
quite a bit.
With that one? Probably about 1,000 people.
2,400.
Yeah,
holy crap!
Yeah, those are the ones you want to get in, because those ones that usually end up being 100 or 200 grand, right, to win.
Yeah, I'd like to win that one. It would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You don't know if all of a sudden Rob's going to be doing the show from Miami or something.
I know. Honestly,
he's going to be in he's going to be at one of those hotels.
We're all doing it on. We're doing it on location in Vegas. If we hit the jackpot.
Oh, there you go.
On location.
We're all pulling for you then, Rob. We're all pulling for you.
Rob, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. I love Vegas.
I can't disagree with that. You know what? To that, I'll pick 6 numbers tonight for the 649, and we'll do it from Dubai if we have to next week.
That'd be awesome.
Last thing then, for the Sunday nighter, is anybody around to catch that one? I'll wear my jersey. You guys can make fun of me if anybody's around.
Yeah, that's fine.
Might be able to pop in at some point.
Yeah.
Might be able to.
All right.
Might be able to.
All right. And maybe we'll just do a live bet on that one. We'll do some props to win a free pound of wings on that one, since God knows we're never going to go 5 for 5. All right, boys. That'll wrap up this week, the Week 8 show. It's been a good one. And everybody for tuning in. Thanks. And we'll check it with you guys next week. Take care.